Hi, I'm Lena, and I picked XXX Day of Reunion because it has the political intrigue of All President's Men, a tank jacking, and starring a husky legend, Ice Cube.
You know when I pick a movie, that's when I'm under pressure now. The question always comes back to me, what were they thinking now? Whoa, what were they thinking? What were they thinking?
Yes. Tank jacking it to husky hotties. That's what this movie's all about. Hi, welcome to What Were They Thinking, a podcast about bad to questionable movies. And as listener's choice rolls on, I'm not sure that they quite got the whole bad to questionable thing because this movie is nigh perfect. But I've got a couple of folks here that might disagree with me. I am Nathan, and of course, I'm joined as always by my co-host, the Shaggy to my Scooby. Introduce yourself.
My code name is XXX, but my name is Brendan.
Oh, Triple X.
Listen, I didn't
Scraping the bottom of the barrel from that program, right?
listen. I'm pretty good at Excel, and they just had an open spot, and I took advantage.
Yeah, okay, all right then. Well, and of course, this being an extreme movie, we some erroneously got our extreme sports expert, despite the lack of all extreme sports in this movie. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome returning to the show, Jerika.
Thanks for having me. I was also surprised that you see Triple X and you think extreme sports. And even Brendan was like, this is going to be extreme. You got to come back. And then I watched it and I was like, not so extreme. On the extremometer, not so
Yeah.
high.
They really do a job at almost right away being like, Ice Cube's basically like, oh yeah, you know the last movie? I'm not doing that shit.
They so many times did they drive that home.
How many times did they say Vin Diesel's character died? Because I think I counted it 6 times.
Yeah, they really made that clear. Like you could tell that they were just like, we're going to answer all the questions because we know people are coming to this. Like where's
off
Vin Diesel?
screen.
Where's Triple X?
They couldn't even be bothered to hire like a body double to have him like just killed off in the distance, or like if you squint your eyes, the guy looks like Vin Diesel. No, off screen in Moldavia or something like that.
Bora Bora.
Yeah, Bora Bora, because the line is very subtly inserted into the film. Xander Cage was killed in Bora Bora, and that's how it's delivered. It's a real Will Smith Independence Day 2 situation. But anyway, Ethan, please continue.
Well, I mean, cat's gone out of the bag on this one. It's a sequel to the Vin Diesel, not Fast or Furious movie, Triple X, and it's not. And it's. I mean, of course, we've got the return of Xander Cage, which we find out we've already done, and we find out that that the case of him being killed in Bora Bora is not the case, but for the sake of this movie, he is, because we get our good buddy Ice Cube filling the slot of Xander Cage. That sounded really dirty.
Well, it is called Triple X.
It is. It really is.
So he really fills that slot.
He really does. The role of Triple X has to be taken over because again the world is on the precipice of doom, and so they get a fellow who's been imprisoned in the barracks, I think in Leavenworth.
Oh yeah, because his Ice Cube's backstory is basically the plot to the movie Rules of Engagement.
Kind of. So of course he gets recruited into the Triple X program by Nick Fury, and of course he has to do battle with the Green Goblin. Mayhem ensues. I'm going to be steering the plot on this, but I don't feel like I'm going to be doing a whole lot of steering because there's really not a whole lot of plot going on in this movie.
Is it a plot so much as just a collection of scenes that have like
very loosely connected
vignettes? Yeah. So like I knew nothing about this movie going in. Like I knew Ice Cube was in it, and I didn't even know Samuel L. Jackson was in these movies. And then Willem Dafoe showed up, and I'm like, well, he's the bad guy.
You right? Immediately
He is the bad guy.
he's the bad guy.
If that's supposed to be a twist, if that like because when we find out that he is the bad guy, it's sort of like he's in shadow and Sam Jackson is talking to him, and then it's revealed to be Willem Dafoe. No, it's Willem Dafoe from the second he breathes near this film.
Yeah, him, Ed Harris, and John Malkovich. I mean,
Yeah.
pop up in your movie, they're probably the bad guy.
Yep. It does. One thing I gotta say right off the bat, as this movie starts, because I mean, I guess we'll get into it now. Right away, it's an original film production, and I was like, that's a weird production company for a sequel.
Oh yeah, they got. Well, it's interesting because the original films actually puts out a lot of remakes and sequels, which I think is really a pretty ironic name for their studio.
I see what you're doing, guys.
Yeah. We open on a pristine upstate farm, and the love child of Jonah Hill and Emilio Estevez is checking the stalls.
Honestly, I know that we're only 10 seconds into the movie, but when it started, I genuinely thought, am I watching the right movie? Because a pristine, I was like, it's like stables and farmland and horses and like this type of movie. Again, I expected action. Like, I think a better cold open would have been like Xander Cage and Bora Bora
getting killed off in the distance by us as a stunt double who kind of looks like him. Yes,
that's what I was expecting opening this movie. I rented this movie and hit play, and it's like quiet, misty morning and horses neighing in the distance, and I was like, "What?"
This is the kind of XXX movie that women and couples like because there's a story to it.
It's a very pastoral opening. Like it's very. I thought I was watching The Straight Story for a second, and then Ice Cube showed up, and I was like, wait a second.
We don't have to wait too long because I mean the first thing we find out is that the stables have been infiltrated, and we have an Estevez down.
Oh shit!
Yep. The stable boy, he gets taken out, and then this group of mercenaries just descend upon the place, start blowing holes in the ground, jumping into the secret lair located beneath Pepperidge Farms, and just start laying waste to everyone. They even have little drones.
They do.
What? By the way, one of the funniest bits of this whole opening is that little drone. One of them comes up to Sam Jackson and he just like guns it out of the air. It looks
not very high tech. It like looked at Sam Jackson and then he just like swatted it away like a fly and it like exploded.
So yes, all this waste is being laid to. This is an NSA compound because they're the ones who head up the XXX program, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
We two people escape. Nick Fury and I believe the American version of Q. Because I don't know. He's more of a like hacker type guy. He's not so much with the gadgets though, is he?
Well, he has bad gadgets, I think, is the joke. But like, isn't it funny? Or not weapon gadgets or whatever. But isn't it funny how they paired Sam Jackson and Ice Cube with like the whitest possible character they could find? He even has like the white guy sweater.
Yeah, he wears a sweater vest.
I'm just like, oh my god.
So they escape in probably one of the sweetest cars in the movie.
But not very discreet for people who are trying to escape.
Oh, but if you think about it, it's actually pretty smart because it changes color in the light. So is it an orange car? Is it a purple car? Is it a burnt umber? Here's the thing. If it had been like a 93 Dodge Caravan painted like that, they might have a case to argue about the color changing thing helping them even blend in. But the fact that this thing is like, I think it was an Impala. I'm not even positive, but it is a pretty sweet looking muscle car that, you'd be hard pressed to mistake anywheres. So as they're driving away to safety, Nick Fury tells White Carlton that we've got to get a new XXX, one with more attitude.
They specifically be like, There's specifically like no snowboards this time. Like they're all these little sly insults at Vin Diesel. And then the great thing is he's like, Whitey McWhiterson is like, well, where are we gonna find someone like that? Opening credits.
Smash cut to the prison.
So my copy said XXX the next level.
That's the international release.
Okay.
State of the Union is like such an American thing.
Well, that makes sense.
So that's what it was released as internationally. But even the funny part is that even though I knew it was called State of the Union, I didn't actually know that that's where it was going to end up. I didn't give a...
Oh, when we get to that, the last 35 minutes of this movie were eerie. anyway, continue.
So yeah, we get to see, of course, the credits. You see Willem Dafoe's names, and there's there's our bad guy. Haven't even seen him yet. Haven't even found out what character he's playing in the movie, but he has shown up in a spy movie where Ice Cube and Sam Jackson are kicking ass. So Willem Dafoe is the bad guy. And then, yes, we do smash cut to, I believe it's Leavenworth, and a young Ice Cube, which means we have now talked about both actors who played Doughboy in Boys in the Hood on the show.
Oh, right, from Three Ninjas, the little guy.
Another little interesting tidbit there.
Tying her all together.
It's a tidbit that's interesting. Yeah.
It is. Mm-hmm. Nick Fury shows up at the prison under the guise of being, Ice Cube's lawyer. He's got
Johnny Cochran.
John E. Cochran. Yes.
Yeah. Also, by the way, it takes them way too long to figure that out.
All the guy who looks like a dollar store Bradley Cooper, he figured it out pretty quickly.
That is Scott Speedman, sir.
Okay.
He used to be. I remember when he was in everything, and then he's in nothing now.
I don't know who he is.
Yeah, he was in so much stuff. This is probably like peak Scott Speedman time, like 1999 to like 2007 or something.
Wasn't he in Narc? Was he in that movie? I feel like he was in something like that. You know what? Scott Speedman, you're not doing anything these days. Get at us. Tell us what movies you're in.
Yeah, if you're listening to the Scott Speedman.
I don't want to get too rude about it, but he does. He looks like if you ordered like a Bradley Cooper doll from AliExpress.
The Wish version of Bradley Cooper?
So, all right. So, anyhow, John E. Cochran, a.k.a. Gibbons, a.k.a. Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson, Mace Windu, what have you, shows up.
His best role, yep.
He basically tells Cube that half our old unit's been killed, and you know what? They tried to kill me, and guess what? That means they're coming for you next. And they have this little witty banter back and forth. We find out that they were in the same SEALs detachment, and that Cube is pretty happy with what happened to Gibbons' face, all the burning and whatnot on the side. And we also do find out that Gibbons likes to recycle his speeches, because this is where he's like, you still coming at me with that same tired-ass speech?
I love how every line Ice Cube, and I think it's just an Ice Cube thing, but I love how every line Ice Cube delivers is like, he always sounds disgusted no matter what. Like, so he could just be like, you're really pretty. Like, it just sounds like he'd rather be anywhere else. But I think that's just, I think that's just him.
I don't know. I think he does a pretty good job with the Southern preacher later. That whole thing, that shtick.
Well, that's the only time he's like doing like a character, I guess.
Right. I it's one of those things where I feel that he can act, but he just goes the Christopher Walken route, where he just plays a version of himself every single time.
I like Ice Cube. Like,
I do too.
But at this point now, I can only think of him really in comedic roles, like 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street. Him yelling about like Korean Jesus is like all I can think about now. And to the point that like, I know obviously that back then this might have been like an Ice Cube role, but looking at it now, he strikes me as so miscast in every way.
It's one of those things, like at the time, I think the idea was he wanted to break out and do more, I don't know, action oriented stuff, because he's in a bunch of other direct to video stuff and lesser known theater stuff. He was in what was that one, Trespass? Got a Ice Cube, so it's got both ices in it.
Oh shit.
Bill Paxton, William Sadler, yeah man, Zeus, aka Tom Lister Jr. is in this. Yeah, no, that's yeah, and it's also more of like a not, I don't know, actiony, but it's definitely not a comedic role.
Okay.
I think that's what he was trying to do for a lot of that early part of his acting career, and then Are We There Yet happened.
Yeah, and then he just kind of kept doing family movies, or like you said, Jerika, like 21 Jump Street and shit. But so yeah, isn't it in this scene Sam Jackson's like trying to recruit him at the same time, and he's like, I'm gonna set up a helicopter and I need you to bust out of prison. Why doesn't he have the pull to just get him out of prison?
You would think.
That's what I thought. I'm like, why are you making him do this? You clearly need this guy. Use your government connections, get this dude out of jail.
Could be a Mission Impossible type situation where they can't do that and it has to be super clandestine. Of course, we go from there. They go back to the underground bunker. They're taking, like I said, Dollar Store Bradley Cooper's there, and his crew are all taking stock of what happened. And this is where we find out that Xander Cage was killed in Bora Bora. Off screen. No, that's it. Nothing. That's it.
Like, that's one of the lines that, like, you can tell, I feel like was written into the script also for like trailer purposes. Like, you can see how many of these would fit into a teaser. Like, Xander Cage killed in Bora Bora. We need a new guy. No snowboarding. No skiing. More attitude. Who the hell is that going to be? You can see how like they wrote some of these lines to fit into advertising.
I also love as soon as they say the guy's like Xander Cage was killed in Bora Bora, the other guy's reaction is like, why does he get all the great assignments? I'm like, he's dead, dude. He fucking died. Now's not the time to like glorify the vacation he took when he died.
Covet his spot within. Yeah.
That's his cry for help. Some guys get all the luck.
Wish I was killed by guerrilla insurgents in Bora Bora.
No, it's GUE. Oh, never mind.
So yeah, thanks for that Captain Ron reference there. Good on you.
Yeah.
We go back to the prison because we gotta be there in time for the breakout and get to see.
12:06 exactly.
Get to watch Ice Cube do parkour.
Ice Core.
Right.
This was the scene where I most was like, I'm not saying Ice Cube is fat. I'm not saying he's out of shape, but he's just a little bit. Watching him like run around and drag himself up like wall to like get to the roof.
He's a stocky dude.
Honestly, it's the same. It's the same way I feel like when I watch that third XXX movie when Vin Diesel's doing all these fucking flips and shit, and I'm like, no, you don't move like that.
Yeah, and it doesn't even really take him that much work to break out of prison.
No, it doesn't.
He's out of the cuffs in a second.
He busts a few guards in the face, gets out of the cuffs, jumps off the roof, grabs the foot of the helicopter
almost misses it for
almost.
Sure. There's an angle where you can tell he's like 3 feet away.
Right, but he does bemoan the fact that they were late, so that probably put his jump off. So I thought he was going to like lasso or sling the
handcuff
cuffs around that foot part and just hang off that. But I'm like, that's ridiculous. His arm would be ripped off if he did that, and this movie wouldn't be believable at all.
Yeah, they would really take some hits in that department. And if anything, this movie, the physics are tight.
Well, I hear it was very meticulously done. That the almost to like a Christopher Nolan attention to detail about how accurate and like not just like physically, but I mean emotionally accurate the stuff going on in this movie is.
Well, this inspired Tenet. I don't know if you know that.
That makes a lot of sense. I see it now.
Yeah,
that
I
you mention
definitely
it.
felt hints
Yeah.
of the plane scene.
So Cube climbs up into the helicopter, chastises Nick Fury and Carlton for being late, and then we find out that the civilian contractor who owned the scenic tours, the helicopter that they picked him up in, I found that he was like a malnourished Vin Diesel, bald head. He had the same kind of like complexion, but he was really really skinny.
I was waiting for like a line from Ice Cube at some point, just be like, Xander Cage was a pussy. I'm the new guy, or something like that.
Certainly would put that last scene in the third one into different context, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, where he shows up and sucks his dick for 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So busted out. He's done some Park Cube or some Cube Core, whatever, Ice Core, and these guys, they got to hook a fella up, because what do you want as soon as you're out of a long lockdown? To make sex noises as you eat a hamburger.
A lot of sex noises.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen that joke in so many movies at this point now. Like, what does every man want? A burger.
So good. Oh.
He literally says, "Come to daddy."
Oh yeah, he sexy talks his food.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I bet he was real popular in the prison, just sitting at the table, like, "Come to daddy." Oh, we don't sit next to that guy.
So yeah, they have this quick encounter at the diner, and then they go to leave. He sticks Gibbons and the White Urkel with the bell there. So this is where they're going to use his street smarts to help them infiltrate or to find out what happened. And so instead of going to a military installation or to some other like government building or something like that, we're going to go to the safest place that he can think of. And it's a capital idea, in that it's the Capitol Theater, which has been turned into a chop shop by Xzibit.
Yeah, it's the set of Pimped My Ride, I believe.
I actually have that.
When
Xzibit, Pimpin' Rides.
Xzibit showed up, I could not believe my eyes. I was like, okay, I remember the 2000s now. This all makes sense.
Well, yeah, because Pimp My Ride, I think, was on definitely before this.
Yes.
Oh yeah, but I mean, like, this was like peak, like probably like Pimp My Ride, like MTV, Xzibit. Like, I could not believe.
Because I remember when he showed up in the movie Derailed. Did you guys see that movie with like Clive Owen and Jennifer Aniston? I remember when he showed up in that, and he was driving this like pimped out car, and I'm like, is this all he does?
Well, I don't think so, because apparently he's quite upset about it when people bring up the Pimp My Ride stuff to him now.
Well, how dare he?
That's your thing, dude.
Yeah, exactly. You've turned friggin' hot tubs in the back of like Hondas into like a cultural movement, and you get mad that people want to make fun of you for.
I'm sorry people don't remember your turn in Derailed over Pimp My Ride.
It's one of those things where it's like yeah, haven't heard that one before.
Yeah,
that's what he's kind of deal where he says people will ask him in public, will you Pimp My Ride? He's like, no, that show got canceled. It's been over for years.
Well, I mean, like, I gotta be honest. If he's a musician, I have never heard a single one of his songs. So
shots fired at Xzibit.
It is what I know him for.
Take that, one of the last celebrities alphabetically.
We don't
You're not
spend
doing
too
anything either. If you and Scott Speedman are listening to this together, let us know what you're doing.
Open up a joint Facebook account. Join our Facebook group. Let us know what's going on.
The Scott Speedman Xzibit experience.
Yep.
But we don't spend a whole lot of time with Xzibit, because the reason why they go to the Capitol Theater Chop Shop is because the the lady friend of Cube's. He figures she's still working there, but she's not. She's moved uptown, and
She's moved to the white part of the city.
She has.
So much so that when they're driving through, White Steve Urkel tells Cube that he's gonna have to get some clothes to blend in. He's like, I don't blend.
By the way, this lady, played by Marvin Gaye's daughter, Nona Gaye.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I looked that up because I was like, "Who is that? Is she someone that I know?" And she's not really, but still, Marvin Gaye's daughter. I guess I kind of, by proxy, know who that is.
She's she knows her stuff. She's running a very upscale, I don't know, mechanic outfit. She's legit.
Yeah.
And
I did like the fact that like the car person was a woman. I didn't need like the romantic backstory. Like to me, I'm fine cutting that out. But I did like the fact that like he searched out someone who was the best person for cars, and it happened to be a woman. So.
Well, it's a XXX movie. There's got to be some sort of. At least she was age appropriate.
Also true.
Not like Return of Xander Cage, where yeesh.
Yeah, Vin Diesel, I don't need you to write in a fucking 22-year-old woman who's like infatuated with you.
Yeah. So they need to get some cars. They're gonna give over the one that they've been toting around in, because you know what, they might spot that. So how's about I take this Shelby Cobra? Nope. Okay, how's about this Porsche 911? There are only like X amount of them made. I love the fact that the Cobra that she has, there's only 3 of them made. They make a big point of that, and it's a crying shame what happens to that fucking car in this movie.
There's a lot of destruction of cars.
Yeah.
Is this where they go to the farm for recon and Ice
First, because we don't get a car, he needs something a little more nasty, and she informs him that she can indeed do nasty.
I can do nasty.
Yeah.
See, that's the part that I'm just like, I don't need this in all of my movies.
But it's a super spy movie. There's got to be some. How did Nick Fury, not Samuel L. Jackson, but David Hasselhoff put it? There needs to be some sexpionage.
Oh no! Get that movie out of here.
So they get this.
I know Brendan loves references to that movie and remembering how much he liked it.
Oh, one of the bottom ones for sure.
Yeah, it was our measuring stick for a long time. So but she gives them a truck, which is absolutely decked out. The only thing it's missing is a set of truck nuts. And they go to, like you said, a farm. So they're going to do some recon here.
Subtle recon. So Ice Cube brings his subtle rocket launcher.
Yeah.
Right.
The white guy literally says, like, this is a full stealth operation. Like, keep it real subtle. Ice Cube fucking blows the entire thing up.
Yeah. And because he's there to like collect the like the files for Sam Jackson, like in his office, and then apparently the other files are in Sam Jackson's house.
Yes.
He split them up.
Yeah. But he does, I mean, to his credit, I mean, yes, he blows this thing the fuck up, but he does get the files and get away.
He does manage to create a bit of confusion in where he can get the files and then get away. He blows up a couple of boats and a dock, and then jumps a boat onto like some cop car. Like this action set piece was out of control.
This was the scene. I was texting a friend as I was watching this movie, and this is the scene where I was like, you are not going to believe the shit that just happened in this movie. He's on the river, and the white guy is on the bridge above being chased by the police. And so Ice Cube has to go rescue him. So he rides the boat up, flies through the air, over the bridge, several cars, and lands near the white guy. And then it's like, and then it blows up, and then he slow motion walks as he looks at the camera, and then again looks disgusted by everything that's ever happened to him. And then he saves the white guy.
One of my favorite bits about that whole scene is when he jumped the boat from, and we're not talking like just a short bridge like over a river where the water and river are really close. This is like you know, large city bridge. Think of like, the Brooklyn Bridge, the Golden Gate Bridge, those like that kind of height. And he jumps it off a pile down below. And when they do that, you can see that when they did that, there was just like a mannequin standing at the wheel, because when it goes up, it just like it rocks back and forth, but in an absolute straight and unnatural way. And then it flies, of course, over everything. And there's a really great shot of Cube like flying through the air, but not. And he's just standing there at the wheel as it floats by the camera.
Tremendous accuracy, I will say.
This is where we get there's a little more review as to how Cube got out of prison. Of course, we get the Johnny Cochran line, and then we cut back to Gibbons house, where he's going to get his second stash of files out of his pipes. So he keeps his stash in his pipe, which most people do. And this is where we have Nick Fury versus the Green Goblin. Because I think we ran past it. We did actually meet Willem Dafoe earlier.
Very briefly.
Yeah, he's like an aide to the president, or he's like the secretary of something.
He's the Secretary of Defense. So he was the one right after the opening. So right after the opening, when the NSA is attacked, he informs the president.
Yeah.
Says like 16 of our men were killed. And the president repeats 16 men like half a dozen times. So he's the one who tells the president what's going on. And then that's when we learn that the president is going to incorporate some talk about like defense into his State of the Union address, I believe.
Yes, because he wanted to move away from a like a heavily defensive budget. He wanted to make it so that the U.S. seemed more welcoming, and turning some of these enemies into allies and that sort of thing. And of course, Willem Dafoe is like, that's hippie garbage.
Yeah, he's basically Rod Steiger in Mars Attacks.
Yeah, pretty much. So much so when he breaks into Gibbons' place, and this is where they kind of get their tete-a-tete moment, and we find out that he indeed was the general who had ordered the SEAL team to set a fire to kill civilians, and Cube wasn't going along with that. He ended up lighting the captain on fire and then punching him out. Because he got 10 years for the.
He got 20, but he only served 9.
Yeah, but he had gotten 10 for insubordination and 10 for breaking his commanding officer's jaw. And of course, that's also the same fire that Gibbons' face got burned. So neither Cube or Nick Fury cares very much for the Green Goblin at all.
It's interesting. It's almost like a loophole in that American Ninja rule where you can go to jail or go to the military, because Cube was already in the military, so he can't just go back to the military instead of going to jail.
Right. Listen, you can join. All right, look, you're already in the military. You're in the Navy, so you can join the Army or go to prison. Of course, they're there because they want all the files and all the information. Of course, they want to make look like Nick Fury was the one who did all this stuff. So they set him up to be killed. They blow up his house and everything. And what do we got after this?
How many times has Sam Jackson had fake death scenes in a movie? Because I think it's in the double digits. Because it's happened in at least 1 or 2 Marvel movies. It happened in this. It happened in the third XXX movie at the beginning. Like it's like.
And I guess, could you count Long Kiss Goodnight? I mean, he doesn't. He has a. They think he's dead.
Yeah.
Remember, he wakes up and then drives the car out of the back of the transport truck.
I wonder if, like, when they killed off Mace Windu, he was like, "So when do I come back?" They were like, "No, Sam, this is it. Okay, cool. But, like, am I on the ground or?"
I get to be a blue Force ghost at least, don't I? So Cube and Urkel, they manage to. They're going through some of the information. They can't find Urkel can't find the information on our hard drive because he's looking actually on the information on the hard drive. You got to plug it into a computer and trying to figure it out. And then Cube is like, no, he said it's on the hard drive. And then he pulls off a legit microfilm. And then he's got all these pictures of all these people with their names. These are either targets or contacts that he's going to have to look into.
Also, no reaction whatsoever to the fact that Sam Jackson's character just died.
You know what? I think Urkel should have been a little upset, but I feel like Cube might still have had some animosity.
But I don't think he would have, because in the movie he just kind of looks and he's like, like that's it. Looks like he died.
So with all this, he zeroes in on this one picture on Charlie. They go to the Sam Jackson's funeral, which had way less motherfuckers in it than I thought it would have. I figured the eulogy alone would have had at least 5 from the.
This motherfucking lived his motherfucking life.
Yes, that is a Samuel L. Jackson eulogy if there ever was one. So at the funeral, they're scanning the crowd, trying to figure out, these people from the pictures and stuff they have, and then there's a woman there, and that's Charlie. I don't know if her last name is Baltimore, but we'll leave that for another day, whether or not Charlie Baltimore was indeed responsible for the death of Samuel L. Jackson.
Let us know, Charlie Baltimore. Get at us on Twitter.
Or, Gina Davis.
No, just her character. If she doesn't have a Twitter for her character from Long Kiss Goodnight, I don't want to hear it.
What if it's Samantha, though?
Nope.
It's got to be Charlie Baltimore.
It's got to be Charlie Baltimore. I will block you.
Don't talk to me, Gina Davis. I only want to
talk to Charlie Baltimore.
Make a character Twitter.
Fucking look at me, Gina.
Put those teeth away. So Cube's got to go undercover. As undercover as you can go when you look like Ice Cube. He puts on his very best Sunday best and a pair of glasses, and he meets up with Charlie, who's supposed to be meeting with another lobbyist.
But I like how he's like an NRA member, and he's like, "Hey, do you have any?"
This was just like the most he literally just sees a black person and is like, "Hey, can you give me some advice on how to get more of your people into the NRA?"
And he's like, "Well, maybe stop killing us, and if you could have some free food, preferably fried." And then Todd Luizzo's just like, "My bad."
Yeah, he's like, I should probably go
now. So here's a little bit of an exchange with Charlie Baltimore. She's basically saying that she can get him close to the people that he's looking for, but hey, they're going to be at this thing I'm going to be at later tonight. Can you get a tux? And I'm like, okay. And then he's a waiter, and I was like, boo, movie. It does have a reason for it, which you don't see right away.
But guys, the craziest fiddle band in the world.
So I watched this movie with subtitles, and when it cuts to that scene, the subtitles said "wild baroque melody," and it really is just like,
it's like some sort of I don't know if it was Bach or Beethoven, but sped up quite a bit. And
extreme sports version of Mozart.
Oh shit! There you go.
We also had Cube Core or Par Cube earlier. So I mean, I think that puts us. I think that's we get some extreme in this.
I mean, guys, we talked about chairman of the board. It's fine.
Yeah, we could. But yeah, that music. No, I agree. That music was nuts.
But we find out the reason why he has donned the waiter gimmick is because he's going to use it to blend in and eavesdrop on a lot of these conversations.
Just a quick question.
Sure.
Please go ahead, Ms. Jerika.
If you guys were at an event and you were having a little chit chat, if the waiter was standing 3 inches away from your face and clearly listening to you, don't you think you might look at him and be like, excuse me, what the fuck?
Especially if you're talking about two people who are decorated generals who should have some sort of situational awareness.
They're talking about like classified government information. He walks right up to them, holds the tray up so that he's kind of covering his face, and then
Yeah, but not his
stands
ear.
there.
You can
And
see
I'm
his
like,
ear.
and I'm just like, okay, Willem Dafoe, what the fuck? You're the Secretary of Defense. You know who you're looking for. He's literally 3 inches from your face.
The word defense is literally in your job title.
But that's the thing, and it's not him that sees him either. It's one of his lackeys there.
Are you talking about Alabama, Bama Cobb, or whatever the hell his name is?
I think that's what his name was. Yeah, Alabama Cobb. Which is, I'm like, you know what? That's in Georgia. The Big Boss Man's theme music specifically states that Cobb County is in Georgia. Why is he named Alabama? Why is his name a state?
Got it in. Got it in. I was hoping it was going to be Alabama from True Romance. I wanted Patricia Arquette to be the heavy. I'm going to kill you, Ice Cube. After they go to the, I want to say that I know, like, obviously what we find out who Charlie actually is, but in this scene, just like watching this, like in the order of the movie, she says she has like trust issues. She trusts Ice Cube very quickly, and just like, yeah, let's go to my house, NBD.
Yeah, so she helps him escape when the
right, because that's where the
waiter
tuxedo
comes,
looked like,
yeah.
is when he runs through the kitchen. There's like a gajillion other black waiters in white tuxedos, so he's able to blend in.
Yeah, and they specifically say black guy, white tux.
Yeah.
And the woman like points towards the kitchen. They open the door and there's like 50 black waiters.
Yep.
Which is also something I've seen done in other movies and TV shows.
I was confused at this point because they go back to where Charlie is, and
Who's about the timeline?
well, the timeline, all kinds of issues, but I was confused about how. So I know they're doing a reference to the first one where Vin Diesel's like, the things I do for my country, but Ice Cube and like it's almost like there's almost like a seduction scene, right? Because she's like, I can do whatever you want, and he's like, anything, and she's like, yeah, and he's like, how about some fries and a shake? And then she walks away, and then he says, the things I can't do for my country, and I'm like, fuck off. Like, what is that?
That makes no sense.
Right? It doesn't make any sense. I'm like, what are you referring to? Like that I wrote down, is he impotent?
Is he staying true to Marvin Gaye's daughter?
It would have been great if at some point, by the way, that he said to her, let's get it on. I mean, that was a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Nope, I'm out. Get a body double. I don't care.
Are you feeling bad? Do you need some sexual healing?
Nope, that's it. We're leaving. It's a double cross.
Yeah, she tells him to go have a shower.
Yeah.
He goes into the shower and gets out. And then so he hears a noise and he follows the noise and then finds a dead body of the
General Pettibone, yeah.
Yeah, that the defense secretary was talking to at the dinner. But so this is where I don't know what the timeline is here, because like Pettibone was at the dinner when Ice Cube left.
Yeah.
So like Ice Cube left first.
Right.
And I just don't know, like, did Pettibone, like, when was Pettibone killed during the shower? I know that this movie is terrible and this does not matter, but this was just like the question that I had, like, did Pettibone come in when...
You're thinking of the logistics of the whole thing. Yes, I get it.
It didn't make any sense. But yeah, so he finds General Pettibone dead and realizes that this isn't Charlie's house. She's let him there to frame him for murder.
Honestly, it's like a few weeks ago when we talked about fear.com and that Natasha Macaroni calling Jeffrey Combs, and then a minute later he was just dead in the room that she hadn't gotten to yet.
Yeah.
Like, it's that kind of timeline thing where it's like, wait, what? Did you cut something? Like, what's going on?
We don't have too much time to think about that, because as soon as he finds old Pettibone dead, that's when the local authorities descend upon the house, and Cube is basically kind of walling himself up inside, and then lower rent Bradley Cooper shows up to talk him down.
He's like, I don't have any weapons. I'm coming in. And Cube is like, that's fine, but while you're talking to me, I'm going to throw a bunch of TV dinners into the microwave. Don't worry about it. It's not important.
I did enjoy that little bit. I'm not sure if they had the heat vision to look in why they didn't see him walking it all upstairs to put it in the tub.
He would have had to carry it up in his arms. He would have burned himself severely.
Yeah. So that's what happens. He basically tells not Bradley Cooper what's up.
Yeah, he
and
lets them in on everything. Says he didn't do it. He's being framed.
And then kicks him out. And of course, the local SWAT team descends upon the house, and they find the tub full of heated food. And the reason why they didn't see him on the heat scopes is because he's Ice Cube.
Oh!
No heat signature.
Plus, he was hiding in a freezer.
Right.
Wouldn't that have been a great reveal if, like, at the end of the movie, his real name wasn't Darius Stone, it was Ice Cube? That's my code name. I thought XXX was your code name. I got 2. Okay.
I can have as many as I want.
Yes, you can, sir. Yes, you can.
So as they they get away and everything, we have to go back. Now they're going to try to formulate a plan, and this is where White Steve Urkel comes into play, because he's going to hack the planet.
Hack the planet! So he's like, oh, Willem Dafoe is getting all his weapons. Where's he getting all his weapons? And the white dude's like, oh, well, he has to get them through everything, like all these weapons have to come through the Department of Defense. Like he has to sign off on them. And then Ice Cube gives him a look like, oh? And we're like, you maybe want to hack the Department of Defense for us, please? And his delivery is so funny because he's like, you want me to hack it?
You want me to go through like 1,000 firewalls and all of this? Yeah, dude, give me a sec.
And he does it in like 17 minutes, right?
Like where was he when Johnny Lee Miller and Angelina Jolie needed him?
Right, exactly.
They wouldn't have needed Matthew Lillard.
I guess that's like kind of like an interesting thing because like in a lot of movies that character would be incompetent.
Mm-hmm.
Like he would have been just like Samuel L. Jackson's like deadweight buddy who like was kind of an idiot. But he's like, no, I'm actually really good at my job.
Well, let's not also forget the girl in the third one who was just so enamored with Vin Diesel that she can barely concentrate to do her job. We get some more really sweet cars, and then I have a note here that we go to Green Goblin's lair with Charlie.
Yeah,
because...
this whole like going upstate plot line. So I watched this movie twice, and both times I was there was like a scene where I was just like, I don't know what the fuck is happening. This is one of the places where I just absolutely lost the plot.
I don't blame you.
So they go upstate to like, it's an aircraft carrier, right?
Yeah, it is. Because that's when they start kind of laying waste. He starts laying waste to his weapons, Green Goblin's weapons. So much so that he launches a tank at another tank, using that hook, tail hook they used for launching planes off of carriers.
This is also where we get like the surprise reveal that Samuel L. Jackson is alive.
Mm-hmm.
So surprising.
Oh yeah, well, you couldn't hear the air quotes around my head.
Yeah, any movie that like this that says a character's dead when we don't actually see it happen, I always question. I'm always like, we didn't see them die.
Well, it's like with the sequel. We don't see a body at the first of the movie, and you're like, you know what? Sam Jackson's showing up before this movie's over.
I will say the third one was more egregious, though, because we literally saw the explosion take him. And then at the end of the movie, they were like, there he is, and they never explained it at all.
Yeah, no, this is true, because, I mean, at the very least, because it was Willem Dafoe's character who set this up, we see the explosion, but we don't see the explosion happen around Gibbons. Yeah. So it's plausible that they took him out and then left a body to be there for the. Also, they didn't say they didn't find a body. They just assume that he's dead, which is really sloppy police work when you get right down to it.
Do you think Willem Dafoe ever like looked at Scott, like went over to Scott Speedman, and he was like, I'm kind of a Speedman myself.
Jeez.
Did you guys see that? I was on a boat. Kind of a big deal. 8 years ago.
Yeah, those leeches on you.
I'm just kidding. Willem Dafoe probably doesn't ever talk about that movie.
I guarantee you he doesn't, because he's got a plethora of way better movies in the old catalog. This not necessarily at the top of the list, but
On the set of The Lighthouse, he was like, Robert, I'm gonna like use some acting tips I learned from Jason Patric on the set of Speed 2 Cruise Control. If you're interested, I can teach you some of them.
Pattinson's like, that's a phrase I never ever thought I'd hear. So we get a Woodward and Bernstein moment with Cube and not Bradley Cooper, where he's like in the back of his car in a parking garage, kind of explaining stuff to him, even more so. And then of course we cut back to them in the bunker, and not Bradley Cooper he's actually getting ready to kind of formulate a plan to go against Willem Dafoe's character, but he's interrupted because Willem Dafoe shows up at the bunker.
I also have another question. So they keep referring to World War IV. Do I live in a world where World War III already happened?
Yeah, I have that written down too. I was like, when was the third one?
Yeah, because I haven't seen the first one, so I was like, did World War III happen in XXX?
I don't think so.
No.
Unless, wait, maybe this is part of the Red Dawn universe, and they counted that as World War III.
Ice Cube keeps saying, World War IV is coming, and then Scott Speedman says it later, and I'm like...
No, you know why? Actually, I think I've got it sussed out. I've got it figured out. I like to get things solved, and I think I'm pretty sure the reason why they keep saying World War IV is because World War III did happen in WCW, and Macho Man was in the main event. So that's why they keep saying World War IV is coming, because indeed World War III has already happened in the cage in WCW. Yeah, they had this back and forth, and I don't know why not Bradley Cooper is goading him. And I not even just in this movie, in any movie that this happens, it always to no end drives me insane. It's like, you have your cards, play them to your chest. Do not, goad or dip your hand in any way, shape, or form to the villain. But every single time, someone's got to be like, yeah, but or is it?
Yeah, Scott Speedman, he knows now from Ice Cube, he's convinced that Ice Cube is right, and he's talking to Willem Dafoe, and he's just like, wouldn't it be great to have Sam Jackson on this security protection for the president? Too bad he couldn't be here, eh? Wonder what happened to him. You wouldn't know, would you? And I'm like, dude, fucking stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. And it's just because he could have pretended to be on Willem Dafoe's side and try to get in on his team or whatever. But yeah, he's literally like, don't worry, we're working really hard to find Gibbons. And Willem Dafoe's like, well, he's dead. Oh, I meant his body.
Oh yeah, they never found the body. Yeah.
Wink, wink. You wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you?
Rumor has it you were the last person to see him alive.
Oh, but first they've got to rob the government cheese truck.
Okay.
Wait, no. Before that, we get the glove. This new piece of tech that the nerdy guy has that it can stick to I don't even think they use this thing, do they?
No, all of his gadgets, I don't think they use any of them.
Because he sticks his hand to the door of a truck or a car in the body shop, and then they raise him up and then lower. It's a fun little bit played for laughs. If they'd actually used that glove for something, that stood out to me, being like, oh, sweet, he's got the power glove.
Like that part where he has to jump onto a metal train later on, or
right.
I expected a scene like that. Ice Cube just turn to the camera and be like, "White boy got one right," or something like that.
Yeah, but that doesn't happen.
No, white boy didn't get one right.
But then they do indeed rob the government cheese truck with the help of Xzibit, because they do enlist the help of Xzibit and his his chop shop crew.
Like the idea, so like these two guys are driving like an 18-wheeler and they think it's full of cheese.
Yes.
And then,
hilarious bits.
so like they see these two women and they pull over to help them, and then Xzibit and the white guy and everybody pulls up. And like, I mean, it is kind of funny when they're like, "Oh man, I can't tell anybody I was hijacked by a white man."
Xzibit and the White Guy, by the way, my favorite sitcom.
But then like they open the back doors of this truck and there's like 3 feet of cheese and then like a secret back panel. And I'm like, did they not realize that like the cheese portion of the truck, if you look at how big the truck is and then if you open the doors, you'd be like, oh, there's like a back wall that's
there's
like
a
3
false
feet
portion to this truck.
Yeah, so behind all this French cheese, they find all of these guns. And apparently this is the only way for them to get guns.
And Ice Cube is like, God bless America.
Got to fit that quip in.
Yeah. But yeah, they take all these guns and then they're like, we need to and then guys, the last like 30 minutes of this movie is they're doing the State of the Union address. And they're saying like, the plan for Willem Dafoe is to attack the Capitol. And I was like, wait, what?
What? No, there's never be an insurrection on the Capitol. What are you talking about? That's Hollywood, right? You got to make this stuff up because there's no possible way that it could ever absolutely happen.
And there definitely wouldn't be an attack that would involve like the coercion by any government officials. That's for sure. I was actually waiting for the person behind the Speaker of the House behind the president to start ripping up the speech while he was talking. It was open.
Yeah, so like Willem Dafoe's plan is to kill off the president and then like everybody else in the room who's ahead of him in line to become president.
And doesn't he succeed in killing the VP and the speaker?
They get them all in the rotunda at one point because the lights go out and they take everybody away. This of course them getting into the rotunda. That stuff happens before they jack a tank. And
there's a lot of stuff.
The white guy's like, yeah, Crunk, get Crunk with us, X.
That was so embarrassing.
And I was like, no, thank you.
And here's the thing about Crunk. I'm gonna say, it's one of those words that Conan O'Brien doesn't get enough credit for creating. He created that word as an all-purpose swear word to use on his show, and then just years later, it starts being used, in rap and hip hop. Fine, but nobody gives Conan the nod for coming up with the word crunk.
Guys, it's another example of white culture being reappropriated. Everything has been taken away from us. We're so underprivileged.
I have to talk to another person who says we're being replaced. I'm going to fucking scream.
Pod people! Okay, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, Xzibit does have like a really funny line. So like when they're doing like the planning portion of like getting to the State of the Union, they're like, oh, they're going to block off all these roads. And Xzibit's like, oh, there are streets they don't even know about.
No such thing as a dead end.
I was like, are there streets that they don't know about? I don't think there are.
It is a place where the streets have no names. That's why they don't know about them.
And I was like,
you keep looking for them, but you'll never be able to because you'll still won't find what you're looking for.
And also, they are found while they're on the way. So clearly, the streets, they do know those streets.
But also, if these are underground streets, guess what? They made those underground streets, so they know where those are. So yeah, I don't know what streets he's referring to. There
was a really interesting cover of Fight the Power.
That was weird. I'm like, just use the real thing. Come on, guys.
Like, and it wasn't even like a cool like crossover joint, like when Anthrax did that kind of crossover cover with Bring the Noise.
But yeah, we need to mention that. But yes, there literally is a tank jacking in this movie,
and it's the first tank jacking in history.
Yep. And they take out the power gets taken out, and that's where they kind of hustle off everybody to the rotunda, which made me again take the note. treasonous attack in the rotunda of the Capitol? That'll never happen.
I was just like shocked when so they hijack this tank and then immediately drive over like 50 cars. And I was
Yes.
like, gee, I sure hope that there were no innocent bystanders sitting in their fucking car waiting to pick somebody up or something. And you
Spoiler alert, there were.
The people who own those cars had nothing to do with the tourist visit
drive
at
on
the
the
Capitol
road.
that was happening.
Also,
were not all owned by Willem Dafoe.
they should have done like Age of Ultron and just said like, hey, there's they said like we got all the innocent people out of here. They just said Willem Dafoe owns all the cars. Don't worry about the destruction, guys.
It's fine. It's fine.
But also, why was Ice Cube having a hard time driving it when he was evading like rocket launchers in a tank not 30 minutes ago?
He was wrecking that shit on purpose.
No, but he was pulling off like stealthy moves.
When I watched that scene, I was like, I don't know a lot about tanks, but like he was pulling like turning on a dime in that thing.
Yeah, he was that was ridiculous.
He like literally at one point like looked like he pulled like a handbrake turn and like swerved out of like someone's way.
They will
I was
pivot like that. I will say they will.
I don't know. It seemed a little too quick though.
Yeah. But no, they will, because basically you stop the one tread and keep the other tread going, and it'll flip right around.
My only tank experience is the movie Fury, so.
Well, that's good tank experience. That's a pretty good tank movie. So.
Okay. This is all hell is breaking loose in the Capitol.
Big
in
shootout.
this movie, not January 6th of this past year.
No, that didn't happen.
Well, it was just a tourist visit, right? I mean, it was orderly. There were no weapons, then nothing like that.
Antifa.
Yeah, no, and anybody who did do it was just there to make the president look bad.
Yeah, of course. That's the logical answer.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna get so many tweets about that.
Well, we might get a retweet from Marjorie Taylor Greene. Anyhow,
She thinks we're serious.
we go back and
Finally, truth seekers.
they end up killing Charlie ends up getting killed, and Sam Jackson advises Ice Cube, "See, I told you should have killed that bitch."
Yeah, because he just knocked her out earlier.
Yeah, he just knocked her out and didn't kill her.
He calls her a bitch a lot in this movie.
He does.
I mean, it's Sam Jackson's default setting, right? If you're not a motherfucker, you're a bitch. So, I mean, that's just how it is.
Or a motherfucking bitch. Sometimes he combines them.
That's when you really made him upset.
I like how there's the president has a secret bullet train.
That's right.
It made me sing this like the monorail song over and over.
Is there a chance the track could bend?
How do you life, my Hindu friend? The ring came off my pudding can.
Willem kidnaps the president,
bastards.
takes him on the train.
Take my penknife, my good man. There you go.
Thank you. But she's right. The Willem Dafoe does take the president for a train ride. It's interesting that the president in this timeline is a real big fan of trains as well. Joe Biden's a big fan of trains.
Oh, right. Amtrak. Do you think Joe Biden has a secret bullet Amtrak under the White House?
Yeah, you know what? Someone get him a copy of this movie. It might give him some ideas.
If anything happens, I'm going straight to Delaware, folks.
Hey, Jack, I'm getting on the train.
I thought you were gonna say like Donald Trump likes to run trains on people.
Oh
No.
God. It's not a train. It's just a little fucking caboose.
But yes, and then XXX has a car that can drive fast enough to catch up with the bullet train.
This is the car. It's the Shelby Cobra prototype that they mentioned earlier in the film, and only 3 of them were made. This car, I don't know, like the legit the story on this car is, but even if it's just a kit car made up to look good for the movie, that car looks smoking hot. And what they do to it is an absolute crime against nature.
And like you said, yeah, it catches up to a fucking bullet train. The presidential bullet train.
I think
There's
that this is-
an ass ton of terrible green screen.
Yeah.
yeah, and I think, and I couldn't remember, but I think that this movie only has one F-bomb, and the president gets it.
Oh, is there an F-bomb?
Yeah, the president says "fuck you" at one point to Willem Dafoe,
Okay.
which is nice.
I like how there's an explosion that somehow Ice Cube doesn't die in.
Well, that's when he rams the front of the Shelby into the train.
Yeah,
And
so he gets
basically
on the
has to
train.
jump from the Cobra to the train.
Would have been a
And there's-
great time for his magnet glove.
right?
Right.
But now there's only 2 Shelby Cobra prototypes ever made that exist now.
And then there's a hilarious exchange because Ice Cube and Willem Dafoe have that history we talked about earlier. And Ice Cube says, or Willem Dafoe is like, I think of you every time I chew steak. And Ice Cube says, and I quote, well, I thought of you every night I was in prison. And I was like, I don't think that came out the way you wanted it to.
Certainly did not.
But yeah, there is that fight scene. He's fighting Alabama in the kitchen,
Yeah.
the gas line, and then like he turns on his lighter, and then but somehow only Alabama is killed in a massive gas explosion.
Right?
He's hiding underneath a shelf.
Following this, I have a big problem with Willem Dafoe being able to get a one-up on Ice Cube in a fist fight. I don't see it.
He's the Green Goblin.
I don't see it.
He's got the he's been injected with the Green Goblin.
He's got nothing behind those eyes, nothing to
Nice.
lose.
Willem fucking Dafoe.
50-year-old man that is able to turn the tide on Ice Cube. But yeah, they have a fist fight. While Scott Speedman is like basically the Falcon, like Marvel's the Falcon, and swoops in and like steals the president, gets shot in the shoulder, but he's fine.
Yeah, he's attached to the helicopter, so Sam Jackson's flying the helicopter, and Scott Speedman swoops in. The first time I watched this movie, I at first thought it was White Carlton. And I was like, oh my god, he's like pulling this shit now?
You got crunk with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what crunk means? Okay, cool. But yeah, Scott Speedman swoops in.
Spoiler, that's not what crunk means.
And yeah, the president jumps into his arms.
In a loving embrace.
And they get up onto the helicopter safely. So it's just Ice Cube and Willem Dafoe on the train.
And then Ice Cube gets away, and Sam Jackson shoots the bullet train from the helicopter, and he's like, your turn to do the dying, General.
He didn't hear that. He didn't hear a single word you said, Sam.
No, I don't know who he was saying that to, because, yeah, exactly. But then Willem Dafoe just blows the fuck up.
Yeah, and Ice Cube jumps from the train, falling down to the Potomac River, and to save himself, launches a grenade at a grenade or a rocket at the water, just to break the surface tension of the water, so he's not crushed. And I was like, you know what? Fair play, movie. Fair play.
They did set up earlier that he had the record for like the longest free jump or something like that. And I was like, oh, that's coming back.
That was another part where I was like looking at Ice Cube like you did not dive 250 meters.
And you know he actually is safe. You know he's safe because Ice Cubes float.
Jesus.
Throw them in your drink. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong, children.
Science experiment. Tweet us your results. Then it's the most eerie news montage ever of like the Capitol being under attack, and I'm like, this is 2021 eyes.
Right?
It was really striking that the plot of this was an attack on the Capitol by American insurgents.
Yeah.
The president then quotes Tupac in his speech. I believe the quote is, wars come and go, but my soldiers stay eternal.
Yeah.
I think that's what the quote was we were wrestling with earlier. But yes, it would be real. I mean, I would pay good money to hear Joe Biden quote Tupac in a speech during the State of the Union address.
Now that I think about it, I could see Joe Biden fitting in really well as like the white Carlton guy, because I could definitely see Joe Biden being like, "Get crunk with it, get crunk.
With those like big shades that he has. Yeah.
Come on, Barack, get crunk, get crunk."
Not gonna do that.
Yeah. Joe,
Stereotype.
I don't think you can say that.
Oh, he can say crunk, but I don't think you should do it. It's a bad habit.
So, Willem Dafoe was given full military honors.
Yeah, I didn't
They
like
don't
that.
Well, I think there's a little like a commentary there about like what's really going on, guys.
Yeah.
And Ice Cube is like, the anonymous hero. And then he hooks up with Marvin Gaye's daughter.
Well, she actually asked him about the Shelby because she never got to ride in it, and asked how fast it got to, and he was like, "Is it 220?
Yeah, 220.
30? Second best ride of my life."
Oh!
You
I
true
hated
romantic,
that.
you.
I hated that. I hated that.
I don't care if they used to be an item. You don't bring that kind of energy to a girl you just kind of reconnected with.
I can guarantee, like, no woman is like, "Did you just compare me to a car?" Yes.
I can guarantee you there are probably several thousands, if not millions, of women who are absolutely on that train of thought.
Did you just say that I was as good as a ride?
No,
Yeah.
that she was the best ride
Yeah, but
of
like,
his life. That's what he was alluding
that's
to.
not a compliment.
No. But it does end with
Press on tattoo.
with Sam Jackson saying, "We're going to find a brand new agent way outside the box." And it's hilarious because that ended up just being Vin Diesel again.
Oh,
Yeah, like-
actually, no, Donnie Yen. Because remember, the people that Xander Cage came back from the dead to fight in the third one were former XXX agents.
Yeah, but it's just...
One of them was Tony Jaa.
It's just funny to me because it sounds like they're setting up the next main character, and the next main character was just Vin Diesel again.
I want that midquel with Donnie Yen as XXX.
Well, I just thought it was interesting because, like, normally these movies, like, basically they wrote Ice Cube out after one film.
He comes back for a cameo in the next one.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, like, at the end
Yeah.
of this one, he drives away and leaves and says he's done. And then they're like, "Okay, we're going to get somebody new, somebody different." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I guess they've just, like, totally disregarded Ice Cube in this at all. And then so it made me wonder, like, what they actually intended the next third film to be. Because there's a big gap between 2 and 3.
Yeah, they said, we got to go back to tried and true, dumb, bald, and white.
So they shaved Tony Hawk, and that's not fair. Tony Hawk's a great guy.
Marjorie, can you shave your hair off? But that's the movie, right?
That's it. That's
Yeah.
the State of the Union. So I guess now
The
we're
next level.
the next level or this. Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna go around. We'll start with our guests here, Jerika. Now, I'm sure I don't know if you're familiar with our rating system here, but I'll give it to you, and also for the benefit of someone who this might be their first episode listening to us. For this movie, would you say it's worth a watch? A drunk watch with friends? You will attempt head trauma to forget it, or avoid it like the plague?
I would probably go between avoid it like the plague versus drunk watch with friends. But since I don't drink, avoid it like the plague. I don't think it's
Really?
good
That's-
enough to be... I don't think it's good or bad enough to be worth your time.
Okay. All right. Fair. Brendan, what about you?
It's borderline, but I will say drunk watch, but it's not like when we watched Three Ninjas and I was like, "Oh, this is a drunk watch. This is a good time." It's just like it's a drunk watch because there are certain parts where I'm like, "This is so stupid. I wish I was drinking right now." Yeah, so drunk watch. What about you?
I am also going to go with the drunk watch, with the caveat that the friends I have the drunk watch with actually like Vin Diesel. So I can go like, this really is the best XXX movie. You get right down to it.
Just ragging them for 100 minutes.
Winding them up, because that's fun to do sometimes.
Yeah.
So there you go. Those are our takes on that. And with that, we are going to take a break and pay some bills. So stick around. We will be right back.
What were they thinking?
And we're back. Welcome to the NPR section of What Were They Thinking? Brought to you by King Biscuit Flour. King Biscuit Flour, the only flour you want to make, want to have to make a biscuit fit for a king. This is the low. Please, Brendan, tell us what the low haiku is all about.
Well, the low haiku is 17 perfect syllables used to describe the film we just spent a little while going over.
Accurate. And as we have a guest this week, as we like to do, we defer to our guests to be the opening haiku. So please, Jerika, if you will.
Thank you. Ice Cube or iced tea? They really hate Vin Diesel. Willem, always evil. Thank you.
Very good. Brendan, would you like to follow that?
Sure. Lack of extreme sports. No family to speak of here. Tank on tank action.
Very good. It's a shame that last one wasn't 6 syllables, because we could have had hot tank on tank action.
It was implied.
Mm-hmm. Implied or implode?
Ooh. Nathan, do you have a haiku for us?
I do, actually. They replaced the lead. That means the sequel will suck. Hold the phone real quick. Yeah, because I believe that this was actually superior to the other Triple X. Yeah, no, but we won't get into that because we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna get out of here.
Ah!
We're gonna leave NPR land behind.
There's a really funny moment. So, longtime listeners may recall that the last time I was on this show, there was a big reveal during the low haiku.
And Nathan, Ice Cube, and Nona Gaye, brother and sister.
So I was like, maybe this time Brendan's going to pull one over on me.
I wish.
Okay, so but with all that aside, you know what? We've had our say on it. We've had our haikus on it. But, what do we always say here, guys?
Well, we tend to say...
Don't take a word for us.
That's right. Don't take our word for it. But yeah, you might actually want to take our word for it, because I think we kind of sang some praises in comparison to the other ones.
Well, 2 of us did.
To be fair,
I
haven't seen the other 2.
True. This one might be Shakespeare compared to the other 2.
What did the critics think of this movie?
Well, they pretty much liked it across the board. 17% of them gave it a positive review.
But this is really more of an audience-pleasing genre type flick. So the audience must have liked this way more. This must be a huge disparity.
Oh, definitely. Almost double, 32%.
Okay, so there you go. So with that, we are going to dive into the legitimate critics. And let's see who we got here, other than quote not available.
There were so many quote not availables.
I feel that we should start with this one because it is Ice Cube. And this one comes from the reviewer from the Bowling Green Daily News, where that terrible massacre didn't happen. It's coming straight out of Michael Compton, and he writes, "Give Vin Diesel, the star of the original XXX, credit for bailing out and opting to do The Pacifier instead. Sadly enough, he made the right choice."
I saw that shit in the theater. Peter L'Official, that's L''official. L'Official from The Village Voice says, "Explosions abound along with expository dialogue and a ham-tastic triad of performances from Sam Jackson, Willem Dafoe, and Peter Strauss." I believe Peter Strauss plays... Oh, the president. Yes, he was kind of hammy. Yeah, for sure.
One of the ones I quite liked is from Paul Sherman at the Boston Herald. "The result is so infantile it may as well be based on the doodles of an 8-year-old schoolboy."
Okay.
High praise.
Well, Cam Williams from the Princeton Town Topics, he was brief, and I think he thought he was being really witty. XXX cruciating. 0 out of 4.
Okay, this is a weird one. Sean Burns of Philadelphia Weekly says, "XXX State of the Union is an action movie for liberals, and as far as empowerment fantasies go, it's a hoot." I never got the sense that this was a movie for liberals, but all right. I mean, the fact that it's against racism, I guess, is just a liberal notion.
Yeah, exactly. So this is from David Cornelis. "There's not a single scene that doesn't provide at least one unintentional guffaw."
Guffaw.
Okay, well, John Popick of Planet S Magazine wrote, "Not only is Cube America KKKs," because America is spelled with 3 Ks, if anybody's in the know with that. Anyways, not only is Cube America's Most Wanted, I believe that's in one of his albums, he's also our fattest, note not PHATEST.
Oh.
They're body shaming him, yeah. Action hero. They should have named his character XXXL.
Oh.
Go to hell. Straight to hell. Do not pass go. Get an iron poker crammed up your rectum.
Jerika, I think the way you described it was a lot more, like a lot nicer.
Yeah, now I feel bad. Like, I don't think he's like out of shape. He just doesn't look like a typical.
He's a stocky dude.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of just looked uncomfortable when he was running on the roof.
Yeah, no, you said that fine. That guy was like, dude was fat.
Dude was fat and he needs bigger shirts.
It's funny you actually read that, Nathan, because my last critics review here one also makes reference to his weight. Matthew Turner of View London actually gave it a positive review, and he says, "Ice Cube makes an appealing lead, and no one ever mentions that he might be a little on the tubby side to really cut it as an action hero."
So this one stuck out to me. This one's from Austin O'Connor of the Lowell Sun. "As for female characters in the franchise, there are only 2 types of women. The ones with big breasts and the ones with even bigger breasts."
I don't feel that this is the biggest offender in regards to that as far as this series goes. We had actually 2 female characters. We had Charlie and we had Marvin Gaye's daughter.
Yep.
And yeah, okay, so there were some club girls hanging out with Xzibit, but I mean, I don't feel that this movie was as egregious as the first one or the third one.
The third one literally had Vin Diesel showing up to that like all-lady computer hacking mountain where like they were all like half naked, and then the end of that scene he just fucks all of them. So yeah, I see your point.
All right. Now we will move on to the audience ones right after this. I had to see this. I see our late great friend of the podcast, Ken Hankey from the Mountain Express. He weighed in on this, and he wrote that no one expects brilliant writing in a movie like this, but there are limits. or there should be. 2 out of 5. Ken, putting it on blast.
Do you want me to start these audience reviews out?
You feel free, because I need to arrow back to the audience reviews.
So Theodore M gives this 1.5 stars. Says it's not as campy as the original. It's not as good at acting, and the plot is even thinner. But the new spin with I hope overly aware gangster bullshit gives you the chuckles sometimes. So that's something. But I can never believe Ice Cube could ever pull off any of those stunts. So meh. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
I like this one. This was it's a 1-star review, so not a favorable review from Matt. And it just says, Triple Z, snooze of the union.
Boom!
Roasted. Okay, well, got a review here from Anthony F. I can only assume it's Anthony Fauci.
Oh. Again, Anthony, get off of Rotten Tomatoes. You've got work to do.
There's a light at the end of the tunnel, so I think he's pumping the brakes.
All right, write a couple more Rotten Tomatoes reviews, I guess.
Well, I don't know. He's pretty combative in this, and it's kind of mean. What a terrible sequel. The quote-unquote hood version of XXX is weak on so many levels. The caricatures would be comical if it wasn't so sad that they were meant to be taken seriously. The effects are subpar, and attempts at one-line humor fall flat. Certainly, this sequel never needed to be made. 1.5 out of stars.
Wow, Fauci coming in hot.
Yeah, that's a rough review.
Annie F. Also didn't care for this film. Gives it 1.5 out of stars. Vin Diesel continues to pummel. One of the big problems with XXX State of the Union is that the protagonist is essentially invincible, not invisible. He has no weaknesses. During those rare moments when he finds himself in a tight scrape, we have no doubt he will come out blasting. This isn't Indiana Jones with his numerous too human failings. This is the Terminator, only without the snappy one-liners and the weird accent. How can there possibly be suspense when the outcome is never in doubt? This is a bad movie, whichever way you look at it. What was Vin thinking? He's not in this film, Annie.
Also, there are plenty of snappy one-liners.
Yeah.
So this one is actually a positive review. This is 4 stars.
Oh.
It's from Pineapple G. I assume it's also Anthony Fauci. They took out
That's
Vin
his street name.
Yeah. They took out Vin Diesel. If they didn't, this would have been 5 out of 5. 4 stars.
Well, I have one here from Jason M. I can only assume it's Jason McLeod, that home-wrecking bastard.
Yay, Jason!
He writes, XXX State of the Union, the worst XXX movie ever made. 1.5 out of stars.
There's probably worse porn. Yeah, and also if Jason's saying this, I mean, I'm assuming he's seen a lot of porn, so his opinion is probably pretty accurate. There you go, Jason. I outed you on the air. Okay, my last one is this is gonna be my last one. It's from Johnny R, who I can also assume is Anthony Fauci. Johnny R gives it 5 stars and says, "Awesome movie. It was action-packed, intense, and entertaining. It had some street knowledge thanks to Ice Cube. The cast was terrific. However, Ice Cube is a good action star, but Vin Diesel was better. If you like the first one a lot, then you might not enjoy this one as much. If you like a good time at the movies, then you could possibly enjoy this film. The first one was way better." 5 stars. The first one was way better.
So my last one is from Steven, and he gave it 5 stars.
Anthony Fauci.
And he called it the best of the trilogy, and then typed out 91 exclamation points.
You know what? That's a valid point.
That's a Fauci standard right there.
Well, my last one is it's obviously Fauci again. These are all Fauci.
Does he have a bunch of different personalities?
Well, I think so, because this one here is from Jaya Krishnan on R, which is obviously code for Anthony Fauci. Writes, Ice Cube ruins the entire movie, and the presence of an actor like Willem Dafoe can't even save this shit. half out of stars.
Wow.
Fauci putting shit on blast, man.
Ice Cube. Even if I hated this movie, I don't know if Ice Cube is the reason.
Yeah, like as someone who didn't like this movie, I would say that like all of the actors are doing like equal work. Like
Yeah.
just because Willem Dafoe and Sam Jackson are like Oscar nominees, but like in this film, Ice Cube doesn't stand out as being any worse than them.
No.
That's it for those. So that's, don't take our word for it, but I mean, you might want to, because I think we were a tad more forgiving than some of these people. We come now to a point in the show where, as we mentioned earlier, we are heading towards that light at the end of the tunnel. In fact, we had our roadmap here in our tiny little corner of the world laid out to us today that we could possibly be in the green after the August long weekend. But until then, we are going to be staying inside and, getting, keep wearing our masks and getting our vaccines and stuff like that. But while we're doing that, we're also watching some movies, some television, and, just to kind of pass the time and keep everybody safe. So it comes to the point where I have to ask you guys, and I'm going to start with Jerika first. What are you watching, bud?
So the last 2 days, I binge watched the first 6 episodes of Mayor of Easttown. There's 1 episode left. It airs on Sunday. It's a crime drama starring Kate Winslet, Evan Peters, HBO. It is really, really good television, and I'm really excited to see how it ends.
Okay.
So she plays a cop investigating a murdered girl and then 2 other missing girls and trying to figure out if they're connected or not. And it's kind of like
The Killing, by the sounds of it.
Yeah, it's kind of like The Killing, and it's on HBO, so there's like hints of True Detective in it. I'm hoping that like the ending isn't a big letdown, like maybe parts of True Detective might have been. But yeah, I started watching it on Tuesday, finished it yesterday, and just 1 episode left, and it's really good.
Nice.
Cool. Well, what about you there, Brendan? What are you watching, bud?
I finally watched that Eddie Murphy Netflix movie, Dolomite Is My Name. Now I want to go and like watch Dolomite after watching that movie, because I would just kind of describe it as like it's sort of like, it reminded me a lot of The Disaster Artist, just because it was like this kind of look at a I guess he was probably more genuinely talented than Tommy Wiseau, but it does. I'm sorry, Jerika. Them's fighting words, I know, but it's a cool look at like it, and it's a funny look. It's pretty light. Rudy Ray Moore and how he started out as a pretty unsuccessful comedian, and then he just did this like pimp character and made this movie through many ups and downs during the production, of course. Eddie Murphy's obviously great, and be on the lookout for Wesley Snipes in definitely the best acting I've ever seen from Wesley Snipes. Dolomite Is My Name on Netflix. Check it out now at your local Netflix theater.
Okay.
On your computer.
Or your living room.
Yeah. Nathan, what you watching, bud?
Well, bud, I actually was on the Netflix joint as well. I watched the latest Zack Snyder flick, Army of the Dead, starring Dave Bautista, Tig Notaro, and
others.
I watched that as well.
Juice from Sons of Anarchy. That's the only other person I really knew in this movie. But I will say this, not as glowing as maybe some other people have said about it. I felt it was cool. I like the idea of it. I think a friend of the podcast, Steve, noted it as Zombies 11 in reference to it being like Ocean's 11, and very much so. There's definitely that vibe to it, because these people are going into Vegas, which is a quarantine zone filled with zombies, and they're looking to take all the money out of this. Oh, Garrett Delahunt is also in it. Sorry, I almost left him out. They're looking to take all the money out of this vault that's still under the strip in Vegas. The only thing is I don't know, I might spoil some stuff here, so if you don't, just spin on probably about 2 or 3 minutes. But it was overly long, and in true Zack Snyder fashion, everything is bleak and even trying is fucking futile, because it's got such a downer ending, and for a movie that should be kind of upbeat and fun like an Ocean's 11 but with zombies, it does that and then it stops doing that, and then it ends and it's really kind of a downer. The characters are actually pretty well drawn.
Okay.
They've got some nuance to them. Even the ones that exit the film early have some things that make you go, oh yeah, that's I didn't want to see that character die. I kind of wanted to see them play their stuff out. But again, like I said, it's not. I'm not upset that I watched it. I just
What a hearty recommendation.
I just feel that I think that there's going to be a lot of people who give this movie the love that it doesn't deserve.
Wow. I haven't seen it yet, so I can't say anything.
No, I did like it, and I did probably like it more. Typically, I do prefer Zack Snyder films than a lot of the times that people don't. Like, I love Sucker Punch, which I know is a hot take. There is one, thread of a storyline throughout Army of the Dead that I think they overestimated how much the audience would care about it. Jay Batista's character has a daughter, and I think Zack Snyder spends way too much time focusing on her, and I understand why that would probably be the case. That was my big complaint with it, is that she has her own sort of storyline that doesn't really end up going anywhere. However, there is a German character in it named Dieter, who
He's the
I
best.
thought he is the best. He is hilarious. I thought he was a fantastic character, and he has a prequel coming out later this year. It's called Army of Thieves.
Wow.
So it takes place before Army of the Dead.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and it's coming out on Netflix as well, and it stars a couple people from stars one of the actresses from Fast and the Furious and stuff. So
Not a full-throated recommendation from Nathan, but Jerika liked it a little more, so put it in the middle and check it out.
So there you go. Yeah.
Well, we don't have to hint, but we should just announce what's coming next week, because this is going to finish off Listener's Choice Month. We are finishing the month off strong with the hit musical from Justin to Kelly. So come on back for that, won't you?
I saw it in theaters.
I didn't get a chance to watch it in theaters. I worked at the theater, and I would have gone, and it was gone in like 3 days.
I saw it in theaters. I saw it with two friends, and they
Are not your friends anymore?
they're not. It's not entirely related, but I was going to say they were definitely really annoyed that I made them go see that movie. And they expressed that annoyance.
I gotta get my little furry pal here to do some shilling for his YouTube channel. If you guys just give me a second. Hello, it's your good friend Montrose Merkington III here, and I would like to invite you all to come to my YouTube channel, Montrose Merkington TV. It is far better than just about anything they've been talking about for the last little bit. You can also be friends with me on the Facebook group, Montrose Merkington III Esquire and Friends. I do post videos about the Graps or wrestling. I mean, if you folks do like the wrestling reference got it in thing that these chaps do, you'll probably enjoy my Facebook group and my YouTube channel. And you will also, you can tweet at me on your Twitter devices at Montrose III. That's the number 3. D. I most recently got a like from Sarah Dunsworth from the Trailer Park Boys. Thank you. More later.
Jerika, thank you for coming on to the podcast once again. I'm sorry there were no sports in this movie, but we got close to it, and I feel like it was extreme enough.
It was definitely extreme.
Got the parkour in there, so
Yeah, and I'm always, it's always fun to be invited.
Jerika, where can they find you on the socials?
So I'm at Jerika Lane on Twitter, at Jerika Lane on Instagram. I'll be tagged when this episode goes up, so come find me there.
And of course, you can find us on social media. We're on Twitter and Instagram at WWTT Podcast. You can find us on Facebook. Just search What Were They Thinking? You can find us on all the podcast apps, but our home base is Age of Radio.
Big time!
And you can find us on TeePublic, Redbubble, Patreon.com/WWTT podcast. Just like Jerika. You want to be cool. Yeah. There's a new episode this month, and I'm not good at calendars, so it may have already dropped, so check that out. I think it did, actually. It would have dropped just before this episode. Maximum Conviction, Patreon exclusive, so check that out. And, yeah, I think that's about it. I guess I just have a few questions.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm here to help. That's what I do. So please proceed.
Well, in a movie in which Vin Diesel says no, Ice Cube says yes.
Mm-hmm.
He's a husky hottie. We met over that. In a movie in which every line is a quip or a sexy come on or a tagline to something else or a trailer moment, as was said.
Right.
In a movie in which Sam Jackson does one of his 82 fake movie death scenes. In a movie where there is a tank jacking.
Mm-hmm.
And in a movie in which there is some dicey stuff involving the Capitol, which was weird to watch in 2021. I just have to ask.
What's that?
Did X give it to us?
Wrong rapper.
What was I thinking?